how do you move women into the system? Where do you find the problems? Is it getting in and getting the jobs? Is it a glass ceiling?
I think getting in is easier now. Maybe about like 10 years ago, that was tough as well. First of all, it's not a very, it's not a paying industry. It's not a paying business as it is. The same case, I think, all over the world. And so women who really feel that they need to do this job tend to come to it. And they find that they're slotted into very sort of a stereotypical roles as reporters and copy editors. And once they're in, coming in is not always a problem. Once they're in, they tend to stagnate because, there's no particular policy in many newspapers to look at women's situation separately and to ensure that they're enhancing on the career ladder. It's definitely a glass ceiling.
And what are you thinking about? What are you doing to sort of break that glass ceiling for yourself, which you've done very well, but for others?
We've had, especially over the last 5 years, we've had sensitization seminars where we involve senior editors and managers across the newspaper. We have branches across the country, so we try and get people together maybe once a year, and if we're lucky, twice a year, just to and the guise of sort of reorienting their skills. Talk a little bit about other human values and issues of prejudice and the thing of women playing an equal role. It's not always successful, but the attempts are always there, and very often it's a question of talking to the individual writer or reporter and saying, why don't you try and do this? Why don't you we'll support you, kind of thing. It becomes a one-person thing rather than across the board.
And that's an investment on your part. But what do you find is the best argument in India for increasing the number of women who are in the newsroom and in the leadership of the news organization? What's the best argument for it?
The best argument is to say that I think the women's voices are very loud in India, and we've been very unfortunate that we've not been able to get through this 30% reservation in Parliament, which is something that women across the country have campaigned for. But in journalism, there's a lot, 30+% of women involved in journalism. And to say that, see, you're the torch bearers, you're the standard bearers, keep the quality going, and there's going to be no glass ceiling for you maybe 5 years, 10 years down the road. You won't even face the kind of blocks that we have faced. And to say that you can best fulfill your whatever opportunities you have in a career like this. And lots of people in India are kind of infused with the sense of advocacy that journalism brings. I don't think you see that in other countries because there's this huge divide between the wealthy and the poor, and many people come to journalism with the sense that they can help a little bit to setting that right. So I think that kind of motivation often works well, though there are people who would opt to have a far more laid back role, and women themselves say, this is fine for me, I just need the salary.
But there's a mission, a sort of driving force, really infusing people to choose journalism because they want to affect policy and change the country.
Yeah.
IWMF has brought out a lot of strategies while we're here. First, giving a study of what's been done and what there is globally. How can the IWMF really help you in India bring about the kind of change you want to see?
I think the attempt has been splendid. I think the baseline study that's been produced in this global report is really fantastic, and we have a very good starting point from which we can further reorient our policies or fine tune what we hope to be as a news organization. But I think the work is not done yet at all, and I think basically what we do need to do is to remember that these are the issues that we're constantly dealing with, and some of us who are senior managers or senior editors have to constantly go back to looking at these kind of documents which have shown us that much work needs to be done. I'm not sure practically how much that will obtain at the ground level because there are issues of there's a hurry and burry of daily journalism. There are colleagues who will, in India particularly, they all agree that women should be treated the same. Women are the same as men, and yet when it comes to implementation there are problems, and as you know, we're constantly coming up against very, very strong stereotypical positions for men as well, as leaders and as those who call the shots. So it's a challenging thing, but I think having a document like this makes you realize how far we have to go.
What was your expectation for a couple of days in Washington with women leaders like yourself from all over the world? And what is your hope that we can do to develop this beyond a 3-day experience? So first, what was your expectation? And then what would you like to see from this organization?
I think I was very pleasantly surprised to see this huge statistical exercise, which I think has been astonishing. I don't think anyone has looked at women's position in the global news media before, and in that sense, it's a pioneering and path-breaking study.